Hello everyone, it's Scott and we're back with weekend previews for Aetherdrift. So we only got a few cards to talk about, but I think all of them will have an impact on Standard in their own ways. But before we do, remember to like and subscribe to get further content like this throughout Aetherdrift preview season and beyond. And if you're looking for cards from Aetherdrift, you can check it out our website, caffeinatedgamers.com, to get all the latest cards from Aetherdrift. So let's dive into today's previews. So first we've got Ranger's Refueler for 1 and a blue mana. You get an artifact vehicle. That's a 3/3. And whenever you activate an exhaust ability, draw a card. Exhaust costs 4 mana on this vehicle. And this vehicle becomes an artifact creature. Put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it crews for 2. The thing that I'm excited about for this card is I feel like it was meant to go in the exhaust deck from the set. And we know there are a lot of good exhaust cards with multiple exhaust abilities on them. And what Ranger's Refueler does is every time you use one of those abilities, you get to draw a card. So not only do you get the exhaust ability, but you get the card there. And I think that makes it a very, very playable card in Standard. Next, we've got Haunted Hell Ride for 1, a blue and a black mana. You get an artifact vehicle. That's a 3/3. And whenever you attack target creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains Death Touch until end of turn, and you get to untap it. And it accrues for 1. So another one of those really good static abilities on a vehicle. Hey, anytime you attack, one of your creatures is going to get +1 and Death Touch until end of turn, and you get to untap it, so it can be there as a blocker as well. So I think this is another one of those really, really solid role players that we're seeing in the Aetherdrift set that I really like. And I can see this, you're playing this and you attack with it occasionally, but you really want it for that static ability of giving one of your creatures Death Touch and getting to untap it when they attack and getting that +1/+0. I think makes it worthwhile to consider this in Standard. All right, and our last card of the day, we only got 3 over the weekend, is Dredger's Insight for a colorless and a green mana. You get an enchantment, and when one or more artifact and or creature cards leave your graveyard, you gain 1 life. When this enchantment enters, mill 4 cards. You may put an artifact, creature, or land card from among the mill cards into your hand. So basically this is mill 4 cards and get an artifact, a creature, or a land back from the 4 that you milled, which I think most of the time you're going to hit something that you want. But where I'm really excited for this card is in our Insidious Roots deck, because you'll notice that the idea here is we want to pull stuff out of our graveyard, and when we do that, then we get Insidious Roots activation, which is whenever one or more creature cards leave your graveyard, create a 0/1 green plant creature token, then put a +1/+1 counter on each plant you control. So you have Insidious Roots down, you play this on the next turn, you take a creature card out of your graveyard, you get to gain a life, and you get your 0/1 green plant creature token, and you're kind of off and running. And even after this, the really powerful thing about it that I like is that anytime you pull a creature out of your graveyard, you're going to gain life. So that static life gain ability on Dredger's Insight, I think putting these 2 cards together makes a lot of sense in Standard. And unless your opponent has some way of removing your graveyard, then I think these 2 cards work incredibly well together to gain you life, keep you in the game, and then over the course of the game, as you're doing things to take creatures out of your graveyard, then you're going to get those plant creature tokens, and eventually those are just going to beat your opponent down. So I think this is a really good combo that we're going to see in Standard. All right, so those are our 3 cards from the weekend previews. Thanks for staying to the end of the video, and I'll be back this coming week with more Aetherdrift previews. I will see you in the next one.